'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, the Lions are NFC North champions. Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast post-game show. We're going to keep this quick because it is Christmas. You're all busy. We understand that, but we want to be with you to celebrate a momentous occasion. This happens with the NFL around the holidays, but the Lions defeat the Vikings 30-24 in a heart attack game, pure cardiac cats near the end there. But the outcome is what matters. We'll dive into a little bit of this here in the post-game show, but this is about vibes tonight. This is about vibes. This is about history. This is about, for the first time in 30 years, the Detroit Lions can say they are champions of their own division. First time they've ever been champions of the NFC North, because in 1993, it was the NFC Central. It has been a long time, and it has been a long time coming, and I might have gone a little psycho at work. I might have lost my mind a little bit, but I'm going to shut up. I'm Chris Perfett, at Chris Perfett on Twitter. Joining me, Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader at Detroit Online, and I know this moment means as much to him as it does to me, because Jeremy, my God, man, to watch this team evolve, to watch how this team had started from the Dan Campbell era, to see these personalities, these names, all of that, and just watch them celebrate after this hard-fought game in Minnesota on the road to clinch a title with 2 games to go to get back to the playoffs. It makes the soul weak, man. It floods you with emotion.
It does. It's still sinking in, I think, at this point. Been grinning ear to ear really since 4:15 p.m. Eastern. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. I don't want to say the moment's lived up to everything I've dreamed it to be, but in a way it has. I think back on my memories of this franchise right now, and almost every memory, like significant memory I've had of this franchise, is heartache. It's a negative connotation. It's the Fail Mary. It's the Dallas playoff game. It's all this sort of stuff. And I feel like the only like significant accomplishment that we've had in my adult lifetime was the 2011 season, where we finally put the playoff streak to end. And we thought that was generating a new wave of Lions football. And it turns out a decade later, they still had not gotten over the mountain that we just climbed. And so this feels like a true passing of the torch and putting behind an era of Lions football that hopefully we never see again, because this brand is fun. It's stressful. As Arif Hassan put very nicely in his podcast, the title of his podcast, the ulcers are different, but I'll take these ulcers way over the ones that we've had to deal with for the past 30 years, sure, because we get to say we're at the top of the freaking mountain. The teams that we've hated for decades and decades, the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, we're on top of them all, and they can't catch us even though there's 2 weeks left. They can't catch us. We're at the top, baby.
And to that point, 2 things. Number one, and I understand, like, I know there's plenty of people who are still clinging to the old ways and saying, what does this matter until they win a playoff game? What does this matter? It's just a formality. All I will say is this: you don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know how long this will last. Teams evolve constantly in the NFL. We hope for this Lions team to be great, as it says in the slogan of Detroit itself. We hope for better things will rise from the ashes. Enjoy the moment for what it is in football, because these sports change so dramatically. You can't say you're just going to be the eternal dynasty from here on out. Take every moment for what it is. Cherish it as a fan. Hold it dear, because this could be something really special. When I saw those celebration videos, all the Lions who had gone live on Instagram, I'm like, yes, that's it. That's what it should be. You should live in this moment right now, because it is the joy of the thrill of victory. Now, this game was also like, you talk about those heartaches and ulcers, and they threatened multiple times in this game too. And like, when I saw John Kaminsky not fall on the fumble, trying to go scoop it, and it kicks it into the hands of a Vikings, I'm like, here we go. They can't possibly. Oh, okay, that's a 3rd and 25 converted. Okay, this can't. There were so many moments where that almost came into being, but thank God for Kirby Joseph. Thank God for a Fatu Melifonwu. Probably, I mean, talk about a comeback, a turnaround for a Fatu Melifonwu now to be the sung hero for 2 straight games and being the man who gets to say that he made the catch, the interception that sealed an NFC North crown for the Detroit Lions. Like, that's what I mean. This team, top to bottom, there's so many characters. We've talked to them on podcasts, Jeremy. There is so much heart and passion in this team. You've got 2 games to go. By taking this game, you've avoided all of the ulcers that could come of sweating out a road game in Dallas. And then, depending on how that goes, I know Dallas has dropped another game, but what would happen if then you lose in Dallas and you have to take another game down to the wire, week 18 at home against the Minnesota Vikings with no room for error whatsoever? You don't need to worry about that because the Lions take care of their business. It may not look pretty when it's a division game. It may look like there's still some issues. I'm not sure what was going on with Jared Goff and breaking the huddle so late in that game and the delay of game penalties that kept coming in, but you play to win the game. The Lions win the game, and look at this, man. Look at this. Like, as you said, I don't remember a moment like this. I don't remember the vibes being as good as they are among fans because this team is just really easy to root for.
Yeah. No question. And it's amazing to me. What's really fun to see is all the Lions that have been around for years enjoying this moment. Your Taylor Deckers, your Frank Ragnow's, I mean, even Graham Glasgow, the second time around, a lot of the guys on the offensive line, because that's the really core of what this team is. And I think Dan Campbell even said it after the game. The core that was around for the tough times under Dan Campbell, the 2021 season where they go 3-13-1, the 1-16 last year. Most of those guys are still around. Those were the guys that were formed by some of this adversity that this franchise has gone through in the past 2 years. And maybe that's nothing in comparison to the 50 years that fans have been through in terms of adversity, but it's still meaningful to these guys. They were there at the beginning of this rebuild, and now they are there to share the labors of the fruits that they've helped bore. And it's awesome seeing that. And you're right, like there's frustrating things about the game, and my cousin saw a different side of me that they have never seen before.
Oh my God.
When I'm screaming out
I was
John
at work.
Kaminsky.
I usually don't get distracted at work by the Lions game. I made so many errors on my radio gig because I was screaming at DirecTV. Screaming, right. Jeremy.
Yeah, and I mean, I yell at John Kaminsky. I yell at Justin Jefferson for being a god and somehow coming down with that 3rd and 28 conversion, which was short, by the way. He was short, and then they spiked the ball, and that should have been the end of the game. But that's an entirely different thing. But in a way, like, okay, I brought up the best memory before this being the Lions clinching that playoff spot in 2011 against the Chargers at home. I happened to be here in Florida when that happened as well with my dad, my loved ones, and I think that's what's making some of these memories even more special. And maybe some of you got to be with loved ones, maybe some of you didn't, but for me, I got to be around loved ones. I normally watch games by myself or at the Lions Stadium, to be able to share this moment with some of my family. And maybe they don't care about the Lions as much as I do, but they certainly enjoyed watching me enjoying it. And so this is a lifetime memory. And yes, this is only the beginning, hopefully, for this Lions franchise, for the Dan Campbell era. I loved in his press conference, he was like, that's one. This is just the beginning, which is awesome. Like I love that attitude. But I think we as fans need to stop and just enjoy this, sit in this for a moment, realize that you've just created a memory for a lifetime as a Lions fan. This is the end of an era that we all had to fight through, that we all had to sit through, and just enjoy it, man. To do it on Christmas Eve, to do it. I would have loved for it to be at home. That's the only regret there, but I don't know, to do it under a head coach that this means so much to him. I kept thinking back today of one of the first moments that Dan Campbell really endeared me to his regime, and that's when he stepped on the practice field for the first time since he had been a player here. And at that moment, you knew this meant so much to him. So that he's enjoying it right now too. He's enjoying it as much as we're enjoying it. And to have someone in charge that's so emotionally invested in this team makes it so much easier to root for, and I think makes him so much harder to beat. Like this team is everything to Dan Campbell right now, and you see it out there on the other players. You see it out there on him, and we all just get to celebrate in this moment, and we have to, man.
This is a man who was there personally for 0-16 in 2008. Now he got hurt. He didn't really get to play a lot of it, but he was there. He saw that travail. And now here he is 15 years later, and he's brought the Detroit Lions as a coach an NFC North title crown. You're right. You're right. We have to sit here as commentators on the Lions and as fans, and we have to appreciate it, because I know it's too easy and too quick to immediately go to the next marker, right, Jeremy? 1991, the last playoff win.
Right.
And that's coming. That's coming. But
yeah,
we'll talk about the playoffs eventually once the holidays are done. We'll talk about it because they're not easy. And some of the teams that are coming on for the playoffs now, they're going to be tough. But the Cowboys lose on Christmas Eve. We'll see what happens on Christmas Day with the Eagles. A lot has worked out in the Lions' favor, and I think they are playing better football. I know that's hard to convince after a game like this that had a lot going on for it, but again, it's a division game, and I have to keep emphasizing that. This was hard fought. This was Minnesota. This was the end of the line. This was Minnesota's chance to stay relevant for the playoffs. I think with this loss, like, there's still a path for them to make the playoffs, but it's getting dimmer and dimmer, their hopes to make the playoffs. So, I mean, this was a game they had to have too, and you were going to get everything out of them. I thought the defense played well. Like, I understand giving up long third downs is beyond frustrating, but that's Justin Jefferson on the other side of the ball. And I know fans are upset with Aaron Glenn, but Aaron Glenn isn't making Cam Sutton trip as Justin Jefferson is in the end zone. Nor is it stopping the downfall of Khalil Dorsey in this game. And, you and I can be frustrated watching the delay of game penalties and wondering what's going on with the offense. But really, at the end of the day, the important thing is that this team just finds ways to win. And when the game is on the line, they don't fold under that pressure. Like, there could have been a lot of universes where if this was older Lions, we were looking at that final drive like, oh, God, here we go. But I just felt like something was going to happen. I did too, but I also felt like something was going to happen. Somehow they were going to pull out of this. Somehow, like, that this team was going to find one more trick in their book. And damn it, they did.
And I think one thing we can't overlook too is this offense is rolling right now. Absolutely rolling.
Another huge day for
last
Jahmyr
week.
Gibbs.
The Denver Broncos, their defense is surging. They've been one of the best defenses since week 4, week 5. They're averaging less than 20 points allowed per game. Same thing with and obviously the Lions hang 40 something on them. Same thing going into this week. The Vikings defense has figured everything out. They're confusing quarterbacks. They're making quarterbacks lose their mind, turn the ball over a million times. Jared Goff goes out there and completes 75% of his passes. The Lions hang 30 on the Vikings, which may not sound a lot, but it is quite a bit against this Vikings defense. They don't do that very often.
They got to run on the Vikings defense.
And the ground game. The ground game is just absolutely insane right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is looking like a near all-pro. The offensive line deserves a ton of credit against a very tough defensive front. And I know the Vikings went through a lot of injuries in this game, and maybe that's why there's even more frustration on the defensive side of the ball. But they were opportunistic, getting 4 interceptions on a day. The balls weren't directly thrown to them, right? Like, they made good plays, good breaks on those balls. And so, I mean, I come away mostly happy with this effort. None of it really particularly surprised me. I mean, if you listen to the First Bite podcast, I said I think Molden is going to get for 300 yards and throw 2 interceptions. Well, he threw 404 interceptions. Close enough.
Close enough.
I mean, I don't know. That's just who this team is right now. They're going to go up against some good defensive teams, and they're still going to put up points. And if their defense can be opportunistic, get some turnovers, and maybe give up 1 or 2 less huge plays, and if they're not playing Justin Jefferson every week, they probably won't. They've got a shot against anybody. And again, I don't want to get too far down the line. It seems like Maybe we're talking about a Rams or a Seahawks first round matchup, but again, we're going to have plenty of time to talk all about that. Right now, I think it's just time to celebrate and be excited that this team is a very, very good football team who is in a very, very good position to continue to be a good football team down the road and just enjoy it, man. Like we put up with so much crap for so long. Why flagellate ourselves and think about, oh, the defense looks bad. We're going to get bounced in the first round. We don't need to worry about that right now. Just
No,
bask in the glory of being a champion. Of we're gonna hang a freaking banner, guys, and it's not gonna be one of those embarrassing playoff appearances banners. It's gonna be a real banner that goes up at Ford Field. The first banner in the Ford Field era, for God's sakes, is gonna go up in the stadium, and that's something. That's something. If the Lions get bounced in the first round, I get it. It'll be frustrating. We're going to move the goalposts, right? Like that's the thing. It's like this is now the start of a new era where
yes.
this is one. This is one. Now we're going to expect number 2 next year. Now we're going to start expecting playoff wins. It may or may not happen in this year. When you're dealing with a single elimination playoff, sometimes the worst team is going to win, and that's going to be disappointing and heartbreaking. And again, different kind of ulcers. Like we're going to experience different kinds of hurts going forward. But I think the one thing I don't want to do, because I've seen this happen to other fan bases, I don't want the glory of September to December to get lost. We can't forget how fun that part is too, even if we are
Yes.
raising the bar and saying we need playoff wins now. We need championships
This
now.
is the hard work. This is really hard work. Like these are long seasons. Teams go through stretches, and really going into the playoffs really depends on how hot or cold you are on that stretch. Sometimes those are powers beyond your ken. But the Lions, like you're absolutely right. This was really fun to do this from September to December and into January. 2 more games to go, and then a one and done playoff game series that might take you to the Super Bowl, might see you bounce pretty quickly. It's a cruel way to end your season with this, like, hey, it all is one game. But you're right. Sometimes we lose sight of that work in that. And I want to end
I mean,
this
there's hardware. We have hardware
yes,
now. It's not, it might
yes,
not be the trophy that we eventually want, but we have earned hardware now. That's
that's
tangible.
cool.
We have
That's
tangible
really
things.
cool.
I have a shirt that is going to say Lions NFC North champions in the mail in the next week. I get to have that forever now.
Nice. And I want to end this podcast by this is coming out. This is probably coming out on Christmas Day. If you're listening after the Christmas good, it means you are spending time with your loved ones there, hopefully. Um, I just want to say that this has been it's been an odd year for me. Most years are, and getting to go along for this ride was the best Christmas gift I could get. To have this kind of stuff, to be able to celebrate with all of you at home, with you, Jeremy, for just being my partner and doing all of this stuff throughout all of 2023 and all the years prior. I don't say it enough, and I'm emotional after this game. I really am. So, thank you all. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Please spend time and tell people in your life that are close to you that they mean that much to you. It's the season for that, and we'll see you back here after the holidays. First Bite, I think, will be our next podcast. We'll prepare you for the Dallas Cowboys and back to regular recording schedule after that. People need to go see their families. I need to call some of mine. And yeah, thank you so much for jumping on, Jeremy. This was a good one to jump on for.
It's a historic moment. Like I know that might sound silly to other franchises that
Baby steps.
win conference championships every year, but I'm not going to let their success ruin our moment. This is our moment, and I'm like Chris said, I'm thrilled to be able to spend as much time with all you fans. It's why, even though I'm here with family, I wanted to spend at least 15 minutes with my Lions family, because our live audience here, our podcast listeners, you guys have followed us for 8 years.
Thick and thin, literal thick and thin sometimes.
And yeah, we raise a ton of money for charity. We go over here and yell our frustrations into a microphone, and I know you guys are sometimes yelling it right back at your own speakers while you're listening. And so, this I had to spend a moment with you guys. And so if you're listening to this Christmas morning, if you're watching us live, just know that this is a moment that we all get to share together. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. It's special.
Happy holidays, Jeremy.
Happy holidays, Chris.
We'll catch you all next time. We'll see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
I know you only have a little bit of time, Jeremy, so if you got to bounce after that, by all means. I haven't checked if Morgan wanted to stop in. I don't really have... okay, he might drop in later. What's that?
Absolutely, Kula. I will keep you in your thoughts.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry, just checking. Sorry, a lot of messages. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we'll keep you in your thoughts, Kula. Good luck with that. I'll stick around for a while and do some Q&A. I know, Jeremy, though, you have to bounce because you got quite a bit. We got 20 minutes recorded there, so. Yeah.
We do have a locker room Selly.
Ooh, you want to?
Literally just went live. If we want to hit that up.
Yeah. Let me get that up here. You
don't need to share it. I'll just watch it myself.
I just need to do a few things to pull it out of my old. I use old Twitter, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Let me.
By the way, some people were asking for my shirt. This was by Kiwi. It was Dave Montgomery's. I think proceeds to the shirt went for charity.
Oh, nice.
They sent me one, and it's dope as hell, honestly.
Yeah, let's see.
Hopefully Monty's doing pretty well, because I know some people thought he was maybe dealing with concussion symptoms, but he came back in the game.
I think what was it? Jameer Gibbs just had the hot hand today. You need to give me permission to share my screen.
Oh. Let me figure out how to do that.
And then I gotta take it to Zoom. Is it Zoom Draft Night? No. Desktop 2? Yes. Okay. Share screen.
I did Krolik, yes.
Where is it? Detroit Lions. Here we go. Share this. Let's put this full screen. Is it still showing up?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Man, you never forget your first one. And there's a lot of you in here, right? The first collectively, man, we didn't know coming into this season. There's a lot of new guys, right? We had some core foundation. But, man, you find your new brothers, right? And you build from the ground up. And you've already developed through the core, which we did, man. We knew this wasn't going to be easy. You guys came in and earned it, and you've earned it all year. Give me the old guard up here right now.
Come on, Deck.
Decker.
Come on, Deck.
Come on, Germ. Tracy. The old guard. Whenever you do something like what we just did, it's special. It don't matter, man. And it don't matter how many you win in a row. They're special. But I can tell you this, when you're part of the organization, and it's been 30 years since you won a championship, it's special, man. And these guys have been fucking dying for it and waiting for it, man. It's for you, baby. This first one's for you. The rest of you people. Tell man, enjoy, brother.
Hey, this has been a long time coming, and it feels good. Hey, you know what? Now everybody fucking respects us, and everybody better fucking fear us. No doubt. Let's go, Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3, Lions!
I gotta say, especially for Decker, I saw him in tears. Let me get to the off-air view. I saw him in tears after the game, just hugging Jared Goff. Like, that man's gone through it, and he's really struggled sometimes with some of the injuries you take being an offensive tackle too.
I love that. I love that he brought up all those veterans.
All the old guard, every last
I was just talking about all the guys that have gone through some sort of horrible streak here. You know, Romeo, Graham, Taylor,
Tracy
Walker, who, I mean, I don't know how he's feeling today, because he's obviously gone through kind of the ringer this year of being benched a couple times, but no. And then Taylor just finishing that off with, now everybody fucking respects us and everybody better fucking fear us.
Yep. There's also a video of him and Goff on the field that is very good, if you guys can find it too. So a lot of good videos going around. Good videos going around. That's what I mean.
That's a good way to put it. I don't know. Nanoke. Taylor Decker refused to get lionized. God, we never. I hope we never have to deal with that term again.
It'll come back at some point, but I think that this is a reprieve.
Maybe it'll mean something else. Maybe it'll mean like the actual word, like what lionized actually means.
It's special, man. It's really special.
Oh, they should have done a Gatorade. They didn't, huh? I didn't even think about that.
Maybe we'll do that.
Well, you know, it was our first one. It was our first one. We forgot.
Well, it was also on like last play of the game, and everyone was probably just tight, just so fucking tight. I mean, they had some time on the kneel downs to go get some, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go be a little bit of a family man now, but I did want to spend 30 minutes with y'all.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And I do.
Yeah, of course.
You've meant a lot for me this year, so
appreciate that. Yeah, guys, do the same. Spend the rest of your. Chris is going to be here. Maybe we'll get Morgan to drop by for a little bit.
Yeah. I'll probably stay live for about let's see, where are we at, 27. I'll try to stay live for about an hour or so, and then I'm going to make some food for myself and watch some more football.
All right, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, go Lions, and we'll see you at Ford Field for the first freaking playoff game ever. There, well, Lions playoff game. Super Bowl.
I got two more games. I don't got to sweat too much about it unless we want the
not at all, honestly.
Or maybe 1 seed.
Let's be honest. Lions probably aren't going to get the 1 seed, so we're talking about the 2 seed versus the 3 seed, which doesn't really matter that much. I'm not going to be as emotionally invested. Like I feel like I was so emotionally invested today that I don't need to be for the next 2 weeks.
I just wanted this one. Yeah, I just wanted this one so we didn't have to sweat out the next 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Because everything I've said about, hey, Lions haven't lost in consecutive weeks, suddenly that's being challenged when you're going to go play the Cowboys in Dallas. And I'm like, I don't want to seem like the asshole here.
Right.
That said, very quickly before we get out of here, oh wait, no, never mind. Green Bay won. My bad. Who had the very funny loss today?
I mean, Green Bay almost did.
Green Bay almost did.
If there was literally 2 more seconds on the clock, Carolina would have not Carolina. Carolina.
No,
yeah,
Carolina. They were in Carolina. Yeah.
They would have been able to spike it and kick a game-winning field goal, but almost.
Yeah.
Almost. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here.
Get out of here, man.
Family.
We'll talk a little bit
See
more
you guys.
NFL while you're gone. Thanks.
All right.
Give me 1 second to reconfigure everything, everybody. We're just gonna close that. Let that. Let's go to the post game. Let's activate my camera. Where is my camera? I want to join you guys. Yes, hello. It's me, Chris, the Invisible Man. Can I take off this mask? I want to take off this mask for a bit. I know I promised Luchador, but that thing's just stuffy at this point. Oh yeah, the Jets one was funny. I was in the studio and I was very distracted with a lot of different games, so pardon me on that front. Man, football's a great sport, man. We got playoff quality Joe Flacco. We got playoff quality Joe Flacco back with us, and we've got the Lions in the playoffs. Sorry, I just realized I spammed my at everyone on Discord on the wrong server. At Detroit, I both loved and hated moments in that game. Jesus, it was crazy. Listen, we're not going to have a chance to go too in depth on this game this week just because everyone's with family where there's not going to be a full POD cast. I would really like to know why the huddle is being broken so late in these games. Like, the offense is going really well, but it feels like late game is when it starts to pucker a little bit, and I really don't like that. Like, I really don't like that there was a chance for the offense to really put this game away. And you had a 3 and out and a 2 series that just felt like, and I know Minnesota's throwing the world at you, and most importantly, they've taken away your ability to run the ball at that point, but I would have liked more options, I guess. I would have liked some answer for how hard the Vikings were coming at you at that point. And I don't understand what was up with the delay of games. Like, I mean, you should be used to loud noise, but whatever. On the defense side, like, yeah, you give up third and forever, and that sucks. That really sucks, and it takes a lot of wind out of the sails. I do think the defense is playing better. They stood on their head quite a bit this game, and like we talked about, four interceptions off Nick Mullins. You could have maybe gotten a fumble at the end. There was also that Brian Branch deflection that he should have really come down with for another interception, and we're probably talking about a completely different game at that point too. Like, they were very opportunistic on Nick Mullins. They knew Nick Mullins was Nick Baumgartner on Twitter was comparing him to playing a game of 500. He was just throwing it up. I feel like AG is bringing a lot more pressure these last few games. That's the other thing that changed as well, Jay Wilds, is that the pressure was really getting to Nick Mullins early, but credit to the Minnesota Vikings line, that pressure kind of went away late in the game. Like, I saw the blitzes, but like they were starting to really handle the Lions defenders on pressure late in the game, which really made it much harder to really get to Nick Mullins. So it's every football game is a mixed bag. Nobody gets to pitch a perfect game in football. Chris, are you mentally prepared to play the Rams in the playoffs? I am. Unlike Jeremy, I have no like split loyalty to Matthew Stafford. I mean, Jeremy's Lions through and through anyway too, but I don't feel conflicted about it. I think that's a tough matchup for the Lions. Nobody is playing hotter football than Los Angeles Rams right now. Now, that can all be obviously quickly change in 2 games, but I also think, and the Rams still have to, depending on what happens here, fight for their playoff lives for the rest of the season. They're on the road on New Year's Eve against the Giants, and then on the road against the 49ers. And I don't think they'll be able to rest starters on the 49ers game. I think it is a matchup problem for Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I do think that the Lions have to figure out how to bring pressure to stop Stafford if they do match up with him. But I also think that game sounds like a shootout. But emotionally, as far as Stafford coming back, I'm not weeping at anything about it. Let's see here. We even had a Romeo sighting with a good play. Oh god, apologies. Tired. Fog is thick. Oh, no worries. No worries, Buckeye. Let's see here. Missed fumble was tough. Kaminsky just needs to fall on. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when Branch had that interception when he should have just batted it down, and you would have like gotten an extra 30 yards on that drive. Sometimes just hard, like football instincts. Football instincts are a real thing. They kind of make you lose your thinking mind sometimes. I always remember Golden Tate once told me that his brain just shuts off when he plays football. And sometimes you should be doing something, and sometimes you just don't. So I also, I don't blame Kaminsky too much on that. But yeah, I would have liked to see him fall on it. Flacco throwing bombs deep, Lions versus Browns Super Bowl. You realize we could very well this year get a replay of 49ers Browns in the Super Bowl. This Browns team feels, and I know I'm talking offline as I'm going to the rest of the NFL now, but forgive me, I'm an NFL fan as well and an NFL commentator. And this Browns team right now feels like that Ravens team was in 2012 when Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl. This team feels like you've got a elite defense in Cleveland. You've got an offensive line that can protect you. And you've got a receiver in Amari Cooper who can just take the top off defenses. That's what the 2012 Ravens were. And you've got Joe Flacco under center. And I got to utter the words on radio today, is Joe Flacco elite? We're back, baby. We're back. We're back. I root for the Lions, but on an NFL side, I am rooting hard for Joe Flacco as well. Also, I think it would just be very funny if the Cleveland Browns, after all this strife at quarterback, have found their solution at quarterback and makes a deep playoff run with Joe Flacco, almost damn near my age Joe Flacco, a little bit older than me. My age Joe Flacco, who they traded for a conditional pick, day 3 pick to the New York Jets, who probably needed a quarterback as well. I'm sorry, no. I don't think it was a trade, actually, but like the Jets cut him. On the Browns practice squad and all that. Anyway. I get not liking him, but I think people need to start giving Kevin Stefanski some props. I mean, hell of a job there. In that division, with all the strife going on there, they might still win the AFC North. Like, if the 49ers hand the Baltimore Ravens a loss on Christmas Day, the Cleveland Browns then have 2 games to catch the Ravens, and they play the Bengals at Jets to finish the year. Like, the Browns are going to be in the playoffs. They might be hosting a playoff game too. That's remarkable. That's absolutely remarkable. I agree with you completely, JC Ryden. Gibbs selected by the league for testing for PEDs. That was very funny, Gibbs. That was very fun. I mean, sorry, not Gibbs. Derek Boberick. That was very funny. I saw that. For those who don't know what he's talking about, let me find the picture. I don't know if I can actually. I'm not signed in on Instagram. I don't think I can do the picture, but like, I know Jahmyr Gibbs posted something. I know he said something like, "I'm screwed" or something. I think he's joking on that front, obviously, but yeah, he got summoned for a random drug test for PEDs by the NFL. Who's going to be the starting safety next week? I think that's going to depend on the health of... I almost feel like you've got a pretty good depth at safety now. CJ Gardner-Johnson eventually going to come back. I mean, you still keep running with Iffy, and I think you still keep running with Iffy and Kirby Joseph. And Branch in the nickel. I think that's what you do. If Fatu Melifonwu's renaissance these past couple of games have been the... If Fatu Melifonwu's... I mean it when I said in the postgame, like, that is a wonderful, wonderful comeback story for him. First to get used in the safety blitzes, which he's been great at and notched, another... he notched 2 sacks this game? Yeah, 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. He is bringing some remarkable pressure. And then to pull away the 2 interceptions, I mean, to pull away the game-winning interception on top of it, like, I don't think you can ask for anything else of Melifonwu. And yet, St. Tosin on YouTube brings up a great point. Melifonwu was part of the Stafford trade. So we can kind of draw a line between the Stafford trade and the Lions winning a division crown, if you so wish. Like, Melifonwu coming on at this point and giving Aaron Glenn exactly what he wants for his safety blitzes is a big point of, I think, the Lions really getting their defense to settle down. Kindle Vildor, I thought, has also been playing very good football, and picking him up was a very good move by... I've seen some people ask about Brad Holmes, like, that is... Give props to Brad Holmes picking up on Kindle Vildor there. Not going to be the best thing, but you know, he's serviceable. Jerry, how's it going, man? Jerry, if you got some time to jump on Zoom at some point, let me know. I don't have, I've only got like 45 minutes free or whatever on here, but I know Morgan's going to try to jump on a bit later. But Jerry, love the video, man. What a hell of a day. I am, man. I don't know what you were on since 96.1 has changed from ESPN to Fox, but you were awesome on the radio today, Chris. Thank you, Twin Notter 88. Yeah, I work on Fox Sports Radio. That show was Red Zone Radio with Steve Hartman and Rich Orenberger. I went in when the Lions clinched. First off, I had to run around the studio a little bit to burn off my steam. And before we came back, I went into the studio and hugged Rich Orenberger, who's a former offensive lineman and a big effing guy. But I just had to hug someone. But no, I'm thankful for those guys letting me, as a technical producer, talk on the air. And it was a big day, man. I usually don't make mistakes on the radio. I made a lot of mistakes today because I was so distracted. This game meant so much to me. Tom's Games thoughts about possible Rams-Lions wildcard matchup. Talked about it a bit earlier on the stream. I think if the Lions can get this kind of pass rush they're doing right now, they should be fine. There's still always chance for Stafford to Nakua to take the top off, but I think you just have to settle in for a shootout there. How many players did they get from the Stafford trade? So let's here's the final results. I think we posted this back after this last thing. So the Rams got Stafford. Lions got Jared Goff, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Jameson Williams, Josh Paschal, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and Broderick Martin. This is including all the packages they did where they kept taking those picks and trading them back. Because, they had the 12th overall and got picked. I mean, they 12th, what was it? Yeah, I can't even remember all the trades at this point they've made. But yeah, with those Rams picks, they've turned it into Iffy, J-Mo, Paschal, Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta, and Broderick Martin. I can't do a trade tree. Let me see what it, let me see if I can put this up on my screen real quick. This is on POD, so let me see. Put that over there. Desktop 3. Yeah, here we go. So here's how this goes. So this was the start. Stafford for Jared Goff, a third round, first round, 2023 first round. There were a lot of package deals here, so we can look at that and see net. We got Iffy. He's the first one off the board here for the Lions. And then the deals that turned into J-Mo and Josh Paschal. Jahmyr Gibbs. Sam Laporta. One second. We're going to have Miko on stream here in a second, too. Broderick Martin. Yeah. Let me switch back here for a second. We're going to bring on some extra guests here. We go a bit late. We're not going to go terribly long on it because it is Christmas. I want to take some time. I always try to watch a version of the Christmas Carol on Christmas, and I want to do that. How do I do a new call, a new meeting? Zoom. Sorry. How do I... Oh, here we go. New meeting. I'm going to turn off my camera. Oh, right. Let me just invite Miko here. We'll bring on Miko Scott, our wonderful YouTube man. We are streaming. Yes, St. Tosin, we stream on Twitch and YouTube. I know we're kind of newish to streaming on YouTube. Most of our audience, old timers, are on Twitch. Although right now, actually, our YouTube audience is larger than our Twitch audience, which is something very fun, I gotta say. Love revisiting the Hawkinson quote, Apex Predator. Yeah, that's... People always dunk on the Lions when they leave them. Just be careful, man. Just be careful. We were talking about Iffy being cut at the beginning of this year, too. That's what I mean, man. The turnaround is just so good on Melifonwu. Did you see the Robert Griffin III tweet? I did not. Let me pull that up. Kneecaps bitten by the oh my god, he went really hardcore on that. Okay. Let me switch over the layout here for a second. Give me one moment. Oh god, I gotta switch back and turn off the camera. Give me 1 second, Miko, and I also gotta change you from...
Oh no, you're good, man.
We might have Morgan later too, although I don't want to stay on too late.
Oh no, I might just, hang out until Morgan gets here, and if you guys want to hang out for a bit.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. We're just let me Miko. Whoop. Oh god, they're setting off fireworks. My cat is about to prayers for Ruby, everyone, because where is you good, big guy? Let me close my window real quick. I do not want him pull him out.
All right.
Goddamn thing later. Miko, oh my god, man. NFC North. I genuinely can't believe this. I really can't.
No, man, that's how I feel. I think I'm emotionally drained just from the entirety of the day. Obviously it's Christmas Eve, did family stuff, watching the game, and yeah, the roller coaster of it all. But I guess in a way, I guess we shouldn't have expected anything less, right? This is this Lions team through and through. They can play really good football for the majority of a game, but they're still going to have their lulls here and there, but at the same time
it's not a finished team.
Yeah, but you at least feel confident in their ability to pull it out in the end, and it's not on the shoulders of one guy. Okay, if this one guy has this miraculous fourth quarter, they can seal a win. It's no, the rest of these guys will band together and they'll get it done. And so I heard you talking about Iffy earlier. I can't say enough good things about Iffy.
He's really come on these last two games, man.
It goes to show what time and I know we talked about it a little bit in the offseason in regards to Derek Barnes, but Iffy is another example of that, of hey, wasn't probably what they were looking for in a corner when they drafted him. Dealt with injuries. They tried to switch him positions. Even I felt some type of way about them switching him positions so early in his career, but it goes to show you, if you give players time, if you allow them to develop and you actually coach them along, they can eventually have an impact on your team.
Yeah, and really it's just a matter of finding where that puzzle piece fit, and putting him in this safety blitz role has been phenomenal. And the two picks today is just the cherry on the top in my book too. I think you were always going to be able to pick off Nick Mullins. I was just curious seeing where that was coming from. And Kirby Joseph, bless his heart, but he was when he left the game after the targeting plus injury, I'm oh, this is it. We're in trouble now.
Kirby picked the best time to probably have his best game, because I was literally kind of starting to feel if Kirby continued to play how he's been playing, and if he continues to rise, I was going to be on that side of the fence that was going to be hey, start Iffy and CJ.
Yeah.
Just because Iffy has been playing so well. But Kirby had a really good game, and I think he got back to doing the things that he does really well, which is playing center field and being rangy and making plays on the ball when quarterbacks make mistakes. Where he gets kind of out of position at times is when he tries to gamble, or he tries to assume that things are going to happen, and just instead of just holding true to his responsibility.
Yeah, we're not going to have chances, unfortunately, this week to talk about, at least on the POD cast, the blemishes on this team from this game. I don't think they my complaints tend to be veering more towards the offense these days. They scored 30 points on a very good defense, but also late in the game, you had two chances to put this game away. You go 3 and out, and then a really strangled 7-play series really helped out, I think, by a couple of penalties. And you're getting delay of game calls, two consecutive ones. You're breaking the huddle with 8 seconds to go. There's clearly some confusion happening on the offense. I think, thankfully, we haven't played teams that have really taken advantage of Jared Goff or put pressure on Jared Goff, and the O-line played out of their mind today.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make this seem the offense was putting them in bad spots. I think this was a hard-fought game by the Lions. I said this about the Chargers game too. Sometimes you're just in a wild game, and you just have to accept that this is the nature of the game you are playing right now.
Yeah. And I think that, to your point, like the penalties specifically offensively, because yeah, like that is such a veteran, like that group in particular is such a veteran group with the offensive line. Frank and Jared, like they should be able to figure those types of things out. But I think they even said it during the broadcast that I think Greg Olsen brought it up about like how the Lions seem to be doing a lot of like trying to switch out personnel, and they're doing that late. And so you're switching out personnel, that's taking longer than it should. And so then you're getting to the line and Jared still wants to do his checks. And it's like, well, something has to give. Yeah. Like if you're going to realize that you're getting personnel off the field quick, then like, unfortunately, you may not be able to do the checks that you want to do. Like you're just going to have to go because you're about to give up 5 yards.
Yeah, no, I think if Jared Goff wants to be the quarterback, he needs to, like, someone said, like, that's not his fault for the late game. I'm like, he controls the snap. It literally is like, it may be like there's some kind of miscommunication going on with personnel or everything, but like ultimately it's like, you know, I work as a board operator for radio. It doesn't matter if someone curses on the air. It's ultimately my job to hit the dump button. It comes down to me at the end of the day as the final safeguard. And the final safeguard for Jared Goff is to clap when you want the ball.
Well, that, and then I think it even came up in the Miami game, in the Cowboys game, where something similar happened, and whoever was doing the broadcast over there was saying something similar along. Oh no, that was Greg Olsen. My bad. I said.
Yeah, I was going to say that Vilma was on this game, right?
Vilma was on our game. Greg Olsen was on the Cowboys Dolphins game, and he had said something similar to that effect of like, in offenses, there's a code word usually built in to basically let everyone know, hey, we have to rush this entire process. There's not going to be any checks. And so hearing that, and again, who knows how every team handles it, but it is something that kind of something to keep in mind, like I was saying, going forward, going into the playoffs, going up against Dallas, going into Dallas, because that's going to be another loud environment and it's going to be chaotic. Like being able to sort those types of things out so that you don't have to give up 5 yards and potentially kill momentum. I know Jeremy's not a big fan of momentum, but like, that stuff
you do
kinda,
feel it in games. Like we can't quantify momentum. We can't quantify momentum yet, but I do feel like there are phases to a game where something is clicking better for other teams at other times.
Yeah, again, going back to the broadcast, Vilma brought it up on the drive that you're talking about. Like David Montgomery had like back-to-back 4-yard runs, and it's like, okay, they look like they're kind of rolling, and then they have a delay of game, and then it's just like, okay, then I think was that the drive that they had back-to-back delay games or something else happened where it was like...
Yeah, well, there was also that Khalif Raymond offsides, which I think they've been told to call ever since the Kadarius Toney incident. But, like, Khalif was very offsides, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was very very Toney-esque in that regard. And so I do think the good news is that I think these are mistakes that can be fixed. I think it's stuff that you go back and you look at and you try to figure out, okay, what is exactly happening here? How do we get personnel on the field quicker? Do we not switch personnel this frequently? You know, especially in a 4-minute drive, like let's try to keep this as consistent and moving at a certain pace. So I think like that's again, not to over analyze things or get overly dramatic about some certain mistakes, because again, they still won. And for the most part, it felt like the Lions were in control of this game. The only thing that you can't control is a freak that's Justin Jefferson. Like that's just there's nothing you can do about that.
Lions got some.
You're basically
like Jordan Addison leaves the game, and Jordan Addison has been phenomenal for them too this year. Losing them was huge. Losing T.J. Hawkinson, I think, was pretty big as well. Like it went down to just KJ Osborne and Justin Jefferson, and maybe some looks to Brandon Powell, but really, the only one you're really worrying about is JJ. And like, I feel bad for Cam Sutton. He was getting cooked a lot by Jefferson. That touchdown he gave up, he tripped over his own damn legs on it. Like nothing you could really do about that.
Well, and it's the type of play where it's like there has to be some level of solace, and like Justin Jefferson is going to do that to like 90% of the league, 99% of the league, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Let me go through a few of these too. We'll talk about some more positive stuff out of this too. I do want to say too, like sometimes it's just everyone gives a lot of crap to Aaron Glenn, and like I'm starting to get a reputation as being like an AG defender for whatever reason, but you can't help yourself sometimes when your guys are having that kind of stuff, right? Like when Cam Sutton's tripping over his legs, or if it's Khalil Dorsey just deciding today is the day he's going to have one of the worst games I've seen out of him for a while. but or
Yeah.
just but you've brought great pressure for 3 quarters, and your safeties were just grabbing every opportunity Nick Mullins gave them.
Yeah, I think Morgan and I did a video over on YouTube a few weeks ago where we kind of broke down the defense, and we're just like, is the defense really as bad as we think it is? And like we kind of came to the same conclusion. Chris is like, it's not an Aaron Glenn issue. It's not necessarily even a scheme issue. Sometimes it's just like it's individual, it's technique based, it's stuff that they as players aren't doing well. And so therefore the defense looks like it's, a mess when it's really like 1 or 2 players. And that really does jive well with what Dan Campbell has said a lot of times. Whenever there's been criticism on one side of the ball, he's like, hey, it's 1 or 2 guys. 1 or 2 guys messes it up. And now you have 1 or 2 guys that are now trying to cover for that player. And now everyone looks disjointed.
Yeah. And because of the injuries, especially that DBs took to start this year, they're at a personnel disadvantage already. Like every team has to deal with those injuries. I understand that. But I think I agree with Uncle T-Rav. He needs a deep dive on Kindle Vildor. Kindle's been a great pickup, mid-season pickup for Brad Holmes. Let me get to some of these. Kodak, thank you. You've been with us for 8 months. Tier 1 on Twitch. Sitherly, these are our Twitch subscribers. I'll see if I got anything on YouTube in a second. Sitherly, 6 months. Thank you. El Gato Diablo, 19 months. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk to me about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game. I love Jim Mora.
I love that.
100 bits from Captain James T. Kirk. Joy Taylor just wants more for us. Admin has been on a roll on Lions Twitter.
Listen, I'm sure Joy's mentions. Yeah, I'm sure Joy's mentions are getting blown up today. Like it's one of those days where you just mute Twitter for a few hours and just like, I'll check this tomorrow.
And that was from 2 years ago too. And like she and Colin had took several shots at but that's like the thing Colin does, the Colin Cowherd show does too. Right?
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't fit that CEO super smart mold that Colin adores, so it becomes a joke when he puts on a racing helmet. Anyway, Lantana 24 giving out 2 community subs. Thank you. Chapman Games, James C. Kirk, another 100 bits. Jared Goff was steady as a mouse today. Ben Freddy, 3 months. Duck Lion 33, 100 bits. Did anyone else cry? Just me? Cool. No, a lot of us cried. Another 100 bits.
I feel bad that I couldn't. I feel bad that I couldn't because like I saw Jerry's video, by the way. What up, Jerry? And I was like, dude, I wish I had like
Jerry
that
legend.
level of like
Jerry
emotion just pouring out. But like I was just spent. I like immediately like just crashed off this high.
I was shaking. I hid under the desk, under the control desk for a second. I collapsed under there. Someone thought I had lost my footing. I'm like, no. I hugged random people. Another 100 bits from Captain James E. Kirk from Hell's Heart. I stab at the SOL. As I said, they've already recalibrated it. Well, you got to win a playoff game now. Why are you celebrating this? We'll stop them. Don't worry. Flair, Tier 2 for 36 months. What a way to celebrate my 3-year anniversary of POD membership. So proud of these guys. Excited for all the fans. All grit. Go Lions. Papa Bert, Tier 1, 23 months. Says, let's fucking go. Matt Pisanko, 7 months. NFC North champs, baby. And I think, let's see here. Mike 24, 6 months. Thank you. A new subscriber, Heart Strike. Thank you. Tier 1. And Booz and Bub, 14 months. Rar, I cried 3 times today. Go Lions. Lost my dad in 2007. Really wish I could celebrate a Lions division title with him here. We did it, Dad. That's thank you, Booz and Bub. That's it's something. Miko 2789. Don't know who that is. 24 months. I've been here with us a long time. Kind of a bit of a loser. I'm emotionally exhausted from everything that took place today, but all I'll say is we're divisional champs, baby. Go Lions, one pride, and Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas to you, Miko.
Yeah, man. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, I haven't been with my family for more than a few Christmases now, and I'm waking up for 5 a.m. to work on it. But, I'll celebrate it with Lions Nation. Jay Garcia, 1017, 11 months, Kings of the North. Crook, FTW, 38 months. I'm almost done. 4 bits from Quirky Zerky. Remember when Goff said that rough hits would stop and we all laughed at it? It's the Last Ronin, new subscriber, Tier 1. David Reinfurt, 70, 30 months, let's effing go. And finally, Texas Wolverine using their prime sub, 27 months. 23 months here, 30 years in the real world, and I finally get to celebrate a division championship. I really mean it, what I said in the podcast. You guys are awesome. We love this. We love this community. And I've been running this now for damn near 8 years for the POD cast. It's been a journey, man. It's been one hell of, like, to take over the year after probably their best team they had up to that point. And watching it all collapse that next year, then everything that came with it for all those years after. And somehow we're here with a division title.
And like no fluke, right? Like there's nothing like like there's nothing that you can kind of look back at and be like, oh, like to try and discredit it. Like Dan said in his message to the team, like they earned it. Every step of the way they earned it. And you can, I'm sure there's going to be detractors out there. They're going to talk about, well, how many winning teams did you beat and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter.
I hate that because you can't control that at the end of the day. And like, guess what? Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a very strong team when you played them just because they are – actually, I think the Buccaneers actually are 8-7 right now, so they could still end with a winning record. But like, just because they're around 500 right now doesn't detract because they had a massive skid that the Lions really started. That doesn't detract that they started 3-1 and they looked like an early contender for the NFC South. They might still win that. I think they are going to win that division. If I'm being honest, I don't believe it all in the Saints. I don't believe it all in the Falcons. I think the Falcons might be the worst team in the league right now. I know they have 7 wins, but I also feel like they're the worst team in the league. The most mismanaged. I know they beat the Colts today, and that's taking some bite out of it, but man, I don't understand the Falcons, but I think the Bucs are going to be in the playoffs.
I just feel like a team and an organization needs to have a certain level of like sustained success before we start nitpicking wins. Like the Lions have for 30 years, right, haven't proven to be that team or that franchise that can win when they've had easy schedules or win against teams that have, maybe not been as good. So like when you actually do it for the first year and you're heavily dominant in a lot of your wins and even in some of the tougher wins, like the Chargers one, even the one today, and you gut those out, like this team, this ownership, this coaching staff, these players deserve all the credit for still going out on the field and proving it, because at any given time, this could have collapsed. We've seen it with other teams. You, again, mentioned it early in the stream. This team hasn't lost back-to-back games since October of last year. Like, there's a lot of things to hang your hat on and to showcase, like, this team is different. And the way that they were able to win this year on their way to this championship is something that should be, like, heavily applauded, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's what I've been saying all along. Like, when the chips are down, I trust that Dan Campbell and this coaching staff can get this team to play in the games that matter. Like, and to take, and when they were playing poorly, I said they'll get a wake-up call to this team, and they'll be able to, like, put it on from here. Since the Bears lost 2 straight wins, a dominating win over the Broncos, and really, like, for 3 quarters, fairly dominant here against the Vikings as well. Like, just...
And I know there were certain people on Twitter and probably across the fan base, right, that were like, hey, there's no way this team should lose to Nick Mullins, an offense led by Nick Mullins. But I really do think sometimes we discredit or we downplay the significance of playing spoiler to another team. Like, there's so much ammunition, there's so much reason to get up for a game when it's like, oh no, we can play spoiler to everything that they think is coming their way. And so there was a reason why, like, going into this game, I thought it would be closer. I mean, it still was pretty close. I mean, they won by 6, but it's just like, I expected this game to be tough because I thought Minnesota would find a way to rally in some form or fashion, whether it was defensively or Justin Jefferson doing what Justin Jefferson did.
This is what it looks like when you are the top of the pile in a division and everyone's gunning for you. Everyone's giving their best, and give it to the Vikings. Like, as I said with Jeremy, like, this was their chance to, like, this was their playoff life on the line too. Now, like, I mean, Cowboys absolutely have. Cowboys or Eagles, whichever one comes. There's one wild card going to the NFC East, and like right now, Rams and Seahawks. Talk about a gutsy win for the Seahawks today. like in the final
And
minutes to break that out. But like Rams and Seahawks look like they are. The Vikings are no longer in control of their playoff fate, is my point. They're going to need help from someone to catch either the Rams or the Seahawks here in the final 2 games. This was a must-win for them as much as it was for the Lions, so they didn't have to sweat out these last 2 weeks. Like this might have been their season done. You were always going to get and at home with a charged up crowd and everything else rallying behind the Vikings here, coming off a tough loss to the Bengals, tough losses to the Bears, like these 3 one-score losses that yet again feel like they almost just had it. They just need to hold on. And this is what it is. Another 1-score loss for them.
Yeah. So switching gears a bit, looking ahead, do you have a preference on like who you would like to see the Lions play? I know you were saying like you don't have like any type of like emotional attachment or like any concern about the whole Stafford thing.
No,
but like
I don't know if I have a preference, because ultimately though I'm a bit pragmatic in that I don't think you don't get a preference, right?
Sure.
Like I don't think there's a lot of scenarios unless you know where everything's locked on week 18 and you decide to rest starters against the Vikings, and you could still end up winning that game anyway if that would change things if you're the 2 seed or the 3 seed. But like I think there's strangles and pressures on both of them, right? Like I don't really fear the Seattle offense as much, but granted, that was a gutsy way they won over the Tennessee Titans. They looked done and cooked.
Yeah.
And they came back and won exactly what they needed to. I don't fear them from earlier in the season in a playoff win. I mean, in a overtime win. That wasn't something I ever feared. I think the Lions match up a bit better against them, but their defense can really create some issues. On the flip side, I think if you pull Rams, it will be one hell of a shootout. And it will come down to, can you take this new Ifeatu Melifonwu? Can you put CJ Gardner-Johnson out there, Brian Branch out there? Can you put and bring this blitz pressure and actually get pressure on Matthew Stafford? Because if you can sack Stafford, if you can get him spooked a little bit, then he's not going to be throwing. So, like, I think you can get some turnovers from Stafford as well. Like,
sure.
Because ultimately, Stafford, much like Jared Goff, needs a clean pocket to operate. And he has had a good one so far. He can still extend plays in ways that Goff can't. And he's got weapons like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. But I think ultimately the Rams kind of look like a better version of what we got out of the Vikings on offense with a worse defense.
Sure.
Like, I haven't looked at
I
the
could see that.
DVOA numbers, but I mean, like, as much as they've got Aaron Donald as far as the pass rush, I believe, what was it? I looked up their DVOA numbers the other day. They are, I believe, 28th in DVOA on defense.
Yeah, so it looks like something that you could take advantage of offensively.
Yes, they are, I believe, 17th in they're 17th in offensive DVOA, and sorry, I'm trying to like arrange this properly on my screen. Where did they go again? Oh God, I just rearranged. Let me hit this again. Let me get the firm numbers. Obviously, this isn't updated for today, but going into this weekend, Lions were 6th in offensive rank, 15th in defensive by DVOA. This is defense value over average. This measures effectiveness of a team. The Rams were 7th on offense and 21st on defense.
Okay.
So I feel like that is still like it'll look like a shootout, I think, if you get the Rams.
Yeah, I don't like either. Like, really? Yeah. Like, I think I would prefer Seattle.
You're going to be uncomfortable in the playoffs.
I'm going to be very I'm going to be very uncomfortable. I would prefer Seattle though, because I think going back to what you were saying, I look back at that game in the beginning of the season and the Lions had their number. You had 2 costly turnovers that really flipped that entire game. The only thing that makes me uncomfortable about Seattle is kind of the same thing that makes me uncomfortable or had me uncomfortable going into this Minnesota game, and it would be the same thing that would have me uncomfortable going into the Rams game. Scheming for DK Metcalf and scheming for that passing attack with the corners we have available is not an easy task. Now, if you get CJ back, though, there is some more flexibility because maybe you can do something where maybe you don't play him at safety, you play him at corner, and you go that route. So that way you can keep Iffy on the field, you can keep Kirby on the field, and you have someone that can, like, kind of float around in your secondary and match up with whoever you need to. So I think that's something. So if they're able to do that, if they went that route, Seattle then feels way more attainable to me because I think the defense has done a really good job for most of this season containing the run. So I'm not super worried about that becoming an issue. And then if you do what you're saying, like if this new creative blitz packages that they have going on, I like what you can do to Geno Smith and being able to make his life more difficult. And then hopefully, this run that Iffy and Kirby are on continues to where, again, you start getting some turnovers, you start forcing tougher throws, and then the offense can do what they were doing against Seattle, which was, again, finding ways of moving the ball. And I think this running game has gotten even better. Like they barely got to see what Jameer was doing when we played Seattle. And now Jameer's really starting to come into his own.
Jameer's really come on his own.
And so I really like that matchup more so in our favor. And then the Rams thing, call me whatever you want. I do think that if Matthew Stafford comes in here, it's going to be very uncomfortable. Like it's going to be, I think Eric said it a couple weeks ago. I do think Stafford throws for like almost 400 yards. Like I think it goes something like insane.
Yeah. Well, Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards today too. So that might be even too low. The interesting thing is if the Lions keep holding on to the 2 seed, and something happens at the 7th right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I don't believe in the Falcons at all, but I think this season has more turns in these final 2 games. Like, I refuse to believe that this is the NFC set right now.
No, I think the NFC is absolutely going to go all the way to week 18, more than likely of like, okay, who's officially in.
Yeah, I know there's a solid game now separating the Rams, Seahawks from Vikings, Falcons, Packers. But I think the Packers do play the Vikings next week.
Yeah.
On New Year's Eve. That's the primetime game on New Year's Eve.
So that's going to have a lot of stakes on it.
And the Packers, of course, want to be in the playoffs too. I don't know if I want to see the Packers again. I think, though, that we've kind of seen that their defense is a little bit of fugazi. And I think a third time, I think the Lions could probably handle them at home. We'll blame that on the waxy gibbous moon.
I was going to say, I'll blame it on the moon. I still chalk it up to, I think they just caught the Lions offensive line on a bad day. Like we've probably seen that offensive line play terribly 3 times all season. And that was one of them.
If you get the Falcons, man, like you already handled the Falcons. I don't know who their quarterback will be.
I'll walk into that Falcons game so arrogant. Like it'll be disrespectful how arrogant I'll have.
Bears at Saints are their final 2 games. Now the Bears are playing really tough. I don't think they beat the Bears, but if they do, and they have to beat the Saints to get into the playoffs, I think Lions fans are rooting for the Dirty Birds.
Oh yeah, if there's a rooting interest, like who fans should be rooting for, it should absolutely be Pack. Like you should be hoping that one of the Packers or the Falcons get in, and that one of either the Seahawks or the Rams get bounced. Like in terms of what is favorable to us, because like I said, I would be super just disgusted. I don't know. I would just be annoying. I would be so annoying with how I feel about the Falcons.
But this,
and in Green Bay.
I think what we're talking about too also means that, like, I think a lot of people are going to talk about rest for that last Vikings game. I think the Lions, A, I don't know if they know how to rest. B, they do have a lot of reasons to keep playing for this 2 seed.
Yeah. Well, there's a happy medium here, Chris. Blow out the Vikings in the first half and then cruise control to the end. Like, put up 30 in the first half and then just kind of see how things are going in the third quarter. and then just be like, okay, no, we got this in hand. Teddy, go out there and just make sure we don't lose this.
I also do not think that the Cowboys is a necessary L. It'll be very hard. I think Cowboys will be playing very hard because they don't want to lose 3 straight, and they certainly don't want to handle it. They're a much better team at home for whatever reason. But
yeah,
yeah.
I can't wait to do the film study on that one, because there's 2 players in particular that I want to highlight in that one, and it's the 2 players that like everyone is going to be expecting to kind of be like the difference makers, and it's CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Like every time I watch Micah Parsons, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's just that good at football. Like as a football player, he's just that talented. And so I'm really curious on that matchup, not between him and Sewell, because I think him and Sewell will be like a great chess match between the 2 of them. Him and Decker, though, is one that I get a little uneasy about.
Yeah.
Because that speed off the edge is freakish. But then CeeDee Lamb, I'm very curious on what the Lions' strategy is to handle with how they align him in so many different places. This could be one of those games where it's like, you know, Brian Branch, you're going to just let him know, like, bro, you're going to have your hands full, because this dude is literally going to be everywhere. And we're probably going to have you handling him most of the time he's in the slot.
Well, I was hoping to have Morgan here, but I know I'm just got the timer on my Zoom because I have a free one, unlike Jeremy.
Oh, got you.
So, and I told myself I wouldn't go too late here for everyone.
No, man, so you're good.
Like, I really do appreciate, we still have about 300 people watching us between Twitch and YouTube right now. And thank you for Texas Wolverine. Did I get Texas Wolverine in? I think oh yeah. No, I didn't. 23 months here, 30. Yes, I did get Texas Wolverine here. I don't know why it's showing me that. So I'm going to wrap up here. I was really hoping to get Morgan on, but I'll have to just, maybe we'll just have to like get another group with you, me, and Morgan together for another stream during the week or something.
Yeah, let me know. I'm off work all this week.
Well, I'm on work all week, and I'm also on call for jury duty. So.
Oh, yikes. Well, my schedule's flexible, so if you want to hit me up, let me know. We can definitely jump on here.
Up as a holiday, just like maybe a holiday, just chatting or something with folks.
Yeah.
But I want to get this out. I want to go talk to a few other people. And that guy right there has been neglected for all of my work. So I'm going to grab him and force him to sit down on the new TV behind me, too, that I still haven't put together the TV stand for. And I'm going to watch A Muppet's Christmas Carol. So, guys,
right,
spend some time with the loved ones. Miko, thanks so much for jumping on with me for this. Final words, like, this is awesome. I don't have anything else to say. This is awesome. I like when sports are fun. Sports are, as my mentor once told me, sports are supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have fun with sports. At the end of the day, no matter what you're trying to do with them, you're trying to sling hot takes, root as a fan, just enjoy a sport as it is, break it down, analyze it. If you're not having fun with it, it's not worth it. So when today was as fun as it was, it makes everything fit into place. Like the puzzle pieces fit together. And it's, I love it. I love it. I love all of you.
Love you too, man. Hope you guys all enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your families, and go Lions, baby.
Let's get out of here. I'm going to send our Twitch audience to Bridget Case. Let's see here, Bridget. If I can, I just realized I don't know if I have the power as a mod. No, I do. Oh wait, no, I can do it from here. Oh, of course I have to sign into it. Yes, I'm not rating anyone then. Okay, we're going to get out of here then. We'll just end it here. Guys, spend some time with your loved ones. Make sure they're special to you. And, I don't have much else. It's been one hell of a year for me so far. So we'll see you guys again before the new year. And get to reminisce. And then we'll see you back here for Cowboys on Monday Night Football on Saturday. Goodbye, everyone.